All right, guys, I just finished Red Dead Redemption 2, and I think Dutch has a plan. We're all gonna go to Tahiti, and we're gonna do mango farms. Fun fact, when my friends all started talking about Tahiti, they said it before Dutch said Tahiti, so the whole time I'm like, Tahiti from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Isn't that a Phil Coulson thing? And I was so confused until Dutch finally said we're going to Tahiti. Anyway, today we're going to talk about DCeased, issue number 4. And before you ask, yes, we're going to be doing a complete story on that, most likely next week. We're going to probably lump in 3 and 4 together, maybe even recap 1 and 2 and just do a 1 through 4 situation. So just check back on next Friday for that complete story. As a part of our new initiative of not getting burned out on comics, we're taking our times in the videos to make them that much better for you. But I also want to talk about some of my favorite comic books, and today that was DCeased 4. One hell of an intro, right? That's how YouTube works. Smash that like, hit that subscribe, and we're going to Tahiti, folks. Okay, so DCeased 4 is the epitome of what happens when you run a franchise into the ground, but you have a good writer on it. So basically, if you don't know what the concept of DCeased is, there was a 6-issue comic book series that came out last Halloween, and the general idea was Darkseid got his hands on Cyborg, and they tried to put the anti-life equation into Cyborg, which turned it into a cyber, internet virus kind of a thing, which infected people when they saw screens and turned them into stark raving lunatics. They're basically anti-life zombies, but they basically boil down into being zombies with powers. It's DC's answer to Marvel Zombies, but it's being written by one of the best writers of our time right now, Tom Taylor. So after the initial 6 issues were done, we then got a spin-off series, The Unkillables, featuring Red Hood, 3 issues. And now we have 2 series going on at once, DCeased 2, Dead Planet, and the Hope at World's End. So we're gonna talk about Hope at World's End another time. Today we're gonna talk about DCeased 2. Now, when DCeased 2 was first announced, a lot of people thought that we were just gonna start running this concept into the ground. It's an actual sequel to DCeased, and it tells the story of our heroes that left Earth coming back to Earth because they discovered that Cyborg has a potential cure inside of him. That's where the idea of it being running it into the ground kind of ends. Because the story of DCeased 2 quickly turns into we're landing and we fight zombies, and then oh no, there's a cure, and now we're exploring ideas that didn't exist before, such as how is John Superman? How is Damian Batman? What is Dinah doing as the Green Lantern? What you would assume is just them going, more zombies, and turning it into a situation with Marvel Zombies 1 through 80 kajillion, because they've just kept that going forever and made no sense when they turned Ghost Rider into a zombie. That doesn't work, guys. Anyway, instead of doing what we all assumed DC was going to do, which is turn it into their version of Marvel Zombies, they've instead decided to start telling the story of how these heroes are growing into the roles of being heroes and how they're dealing with the zombie outbreak. And that's because we have a great writer known as Tom Taylor, who's really good at developing characters. The story has just gotten even crazier, though. You would assume that they're gonna go back, they're gonna fight the zombies, they're gonna find a cure, and they're gonna go home, but after finding Cyborg back in issues 1 and 2 and getting him his body and getting his memories back, we now discover that there is in fact a cure, but he doesn't know how to access it. So what would be the best way to access a cure? Another one of Tom Taylor's really good abilities, which is using obscure things in DC. So for those of you guys who don't know, there is a character known as Metron. Metron is the god of knowledge. Many of you might know Metron when Batman took the chair and became the god of knowledge. Metron's been around a lot longer and he shows up occasionally, but I wouldn't call him as well known as, say, the other new gods like Orion or Mr. Miracle or Highfather. Metron kind of pops in and out because the concept of Metron is that he only seeks knowledge. No one has power over Metron. No one can summon Metron. Metron's just there 99% of the time. And if anything, his chair is just a MacGuffin that is used by various Dungeons & Dragons DMs who want to put it into the D&D campaign that you can find over at Comicstorian Gaming, or various writers that want to use it as a MacGuffin for Owlman and stuff like that. You like that little plug, guys? Our D&D game is now over there. Anyway, that brings us to DCeased number 4, in which our heroes have now decided that in order to find out what that anti-life equation is, what the cure for it is, they're going to need Metron, which is one of my favorite scenes that has come out of DCeased 2 so far. They ambush Metron. Well, first off, spoilers, if you hadn't already figured that out. But spoilers. Anyway, they ambush Metron, and then Metron just leaves, and they're like, if you don't let us get the answers, there will be no knowledge for you to get. And he goes, well, why didn't you just say that? Why did you ambush me? And they let him on the chair, which is really awesome because they say they found the cure. They have the cure. So at issue 4 of DCeased 2, we're sitting around like, okay, well, what now? They have the cure. We're gonna go back. We're gonna cure people. We're gonna fight people. Well, you know what? Here's the forgotten element of the storyline, and that is everyone forgot about Darkseid, including Dan, who's on the camera, and I brought this up. So if you go all the way back to DCeased issue 1 of the first series, Darkseid infects Cyborg. Cyborg then infects Darkseid with the anti-life equation. He loses control, turns into like a rage-like anti-life zombie, and he jumps into the fire pits of Apocalypse. Blows up the planet, and you're like, okay, Darkseid's dead. I think everyone, including me, forgot Darkseid's a new god. Can't really die that easy, because as they leave the area where they're dealing with Metron, Darkseid wakes up. He's the unliving Darkseid. So now we have a Darkseid empowered by the anti-life equation, half turned into a zombie, giant for some reason, stomping on people. What? That's the big bad we're going to deal with? At the end of DCeased 1 and 2, we just have Darkseid, the unliving. Probably the most powerful version of Darkseid you'll ever see. So what I'm getting at with this whole thing is DCeased is incredible because what you thought would be them running the storyline into the ground is them spinning the storyline on its head. They're taking the idea of DCeased, using it to develop characters that we kind of wanted to see grow up, but we didn't want to remove our favorite superheroes. I didn't want to lose Batman. I don't want to lose Bruce Wayne. I didn't want to lose Clark Kent. But you know what? In an alternate universe where Damian Wayne becomes Batman and John Kent becomes Superman, and now they have to fight an unliving Darkseid, this book is incredible, folks. If you're sleeping on DCeased 2, assuming it's just a bullshit sequel that's running it into the ground, you're wrong. This is amazing, and I'm really hoping this resolves well with a small cliffhanger for DCeased 3 next Halloween. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, it's a quick video, guys. I just wanted to talk about the unliving Darkseid and why this book has turned into something I was not expecting in any way, shape, or form. But what do you guys think down below? Do you feel like they're just running this into the ground? Do you think that Tom Taylor's spinning this narrative on an amazing head? And do you like our D&D game over at Comicstorian Gaming, where Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are traveling through timelines and dealing with Dark Knight's metal? We're going to be doing a Red Hood and Arsenal one very soon. Would love for you guys to come and join us over at Comicstorian Gaming, link down below. Anyway, what do you guys think about DCeased 2? I really want to know your opinions on it. I want to know the overarching thing and where we are. And for those of you guys who are going to inevitably go, oh, I don't want these videos, bring me the complete story. Don't worry, guys. Your complete stories will be here every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And DCeased will be here next week. Yes, it is returning. They're not. Anyway, guys, I probably should get like fake eyeglasses to make that work better, but I don't know. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Let me know your opinions of the overarching stuff in DCeased 2 down below. And I'll see you next time right here when I talk about why Joker War just kind of ended.